Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. We are back. I'm hyped. Another episode of Spirit of the North. You have myself, Casey Blueford, joined by Mr. Emil Jones King, Mr. Derek Murray. Fellas, this is the last episode of 2024, the year of the Mamba. We are going into 2025. Everything should be big like Barry Bonds' head, bro. So how's Emil, how you doing, bro? What's going on?
Oh, I'm feeling good, man. Happy holidays, everybody. Christmas was good. Getting ready for the new year. I had some days off finally, so I was definitely
Hey,
tucked off resting. So it was a good time, man.
hey, my man got true freedom out there, true happiness, bro.
For real, pursuit of happiness.
What's that, D? What's up, bro? What's poppin'?
Yo, bruh. So somebody had posted it was like a carousel on Instagram of like literally all the moments that happened in 2024. Going back
That's
to,
crazy.
Diddy, right? The Diddy stuff happened,
The
right?
diddler, the diddler.
No Diddy,
Um, well, even before that, what you
Cat
know,
Williams.
Cat Williams jumped it
Cat
off,
kicked.
right?
Cat really kicked it off though, for
You
sure.
had you had the Diddy part, you had K Dot and Drake.
Yep.
You had the election. Honestly, we need to sage the year of 2025, man, because 2024
Just
was sick. All right,
hey,
it
Cat
was a
Cat
sick year.
Williams. Cat Williams really put it on the map. He really told everybody everything's coming out this year, and like it really did come off. So we got a lot to cover. We're gonna hit on some 2024 stuff. We're gonna talk some basketball to kind of kick things off. We're gonna finish this thing off with a toast. As we wrap up this year, move forward to the next year, new year, new beginnings. So let's kick this thing off. First and foremost, we got to give a shout out to Gray Gumbel. I don't know if you guys saw that Gray Gumbel passed away. Um, I'm not going to sit here and talk like we know him, but um, to me, was the voice of hoop, voice of college hoop for sure growing up. And, just wanted to give our shout out to Greg Gumbel. If anybody wants to say anything, go ahead. Shout out to him and his family. Definitely left a lasting impression. Not quite Stuart Scott, but like still the same impact that he had. Like he's just a voice of basketball, voice of sports, CBS growing up. So just wanted to make sure I did that.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, man. And I hate to label things as like black this and black that, but like I think we have to acknowledge the fact that in a media space that's dominated by white men, the Gumbel family in general kind of broke the mold and like opened the door for a lot of cats like us to get on mics and talk about stuff that we may or may not have any business talking about. So shout out to the Gumbel family, but specifically Greg Gumbel for literally holding hoop down basically
Yeah,
for
real
years.
talk.
Right.
Real talk, real talk. He was definitely the voice of when growing up, it was Bob Costas, Greg Gumbel. Like those are like the names I just remember, like hearing growing up, and the voices, and they become synonymous with sports and primarily basketball. So, shout out Greg Gumbel. But being that we are a Spirit of the North podcast, we would be not doing enough justice if we didn't start off with the Sacramento Kings. So, for those that don't know, the Sacramento Kings are 3-10, I believe, in their last 10 games. They just fired head coach Mike Brown. Some turmoil as far as the last second shot the other night in their loss against the Pistons, who are one of the worst teams in the league. Let's get some takes. I think Emil, we're coming to you first. You are the Kings aficionado. I'm going to give you the platform. What are your thoughts right now on the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah, I'm
Floor is yours.
speechless. I'm speechless, man. We're imploding right before everyone's eyes. Sacramento being Sacramento. You know, um, as fans, we get very hyped up. About the season, how we look, and it fizzles out. I really feel like De'Aaron Fox not really committing to an extension earlier on. I know there were rumors earlier in the season about it, and I feel like that caused a damper on the chemistry of the team. Um, to let go of Mike Brown, that's atrocious. I don't know why they would let him go when he was coach of the year and a half ago. I don't know what's going on in the front office or certain players. There are some frictions there's some frictions between Fox and Brown. I think that's a big thing because it's like I don't know if it's like a LeBron type situation where it's like Fox is like choose me or Brown, but Fox is gonna dip too. So we're gonna be without Mike Brown, a bona fide coach, and we're gonna lose another star like we do. We lost the last 10 out of 12 games. It's horrible to look at, So I'm very speechless, and I'm disappointed, man. And it's like I'm disappointed I'm disappointed every year. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we're from the Nutty, we loyal. I'm gonna let
Hey,
Derek bash at us a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah. Derek laughing before the take even get off. So, all right, no Diddy,
Look at
no
my
Diddy,
pick.
get off.
Get off, man.
Look, man, look. First and foremost, I have to also hold this L, right? Because we can go back on tape, we can review the footage. I had the Kings in the top 5, so I first have to acknowledge that I was incorrect in my assessment. But hey, sometimes you just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna be real. That being said, though, let's take a look at some of the events that took place leading up to now, right? So just 2 seasons ago, right? The Kings hired Mike Brown in conjunction with bringing it on Sabonis through the Tyrese Halliburton trade, right? Something I think all of us can agree was a springboard forward for the franchise, right? Now, we can quibble over who you would rather have out of Fox and Halliburton all we want, but the Kings clearly made a choice for Fox, right? They chose to pair Fox with a Groot, if you will, to his Rocket Raccoon that would add more force, someone who can pass, someone who could shoot a decent mid-range jump shot, and someone who essentially could play off of Fox's speed game and open up the offense, right? And they saw immediate success under the Mike Brown era. They went to the playoffs for the first time in 21 years. And I think the fan base was extremely excited for the prospects of the future. From that point, though, I think there were a lot of missteps by the organization, and ultimately leading into my take today, where I feel like that organization not only failed De'Aaron Fox, which is why he's ready to leave, but they failed ultimately their fan base by not improving the margins to add depth, defense, length, and the ability to, operate a system in which Mike Brown flourishes, right? So, now they scapegoat Mike Brown in the midst of all the hubbub surrounding De'Aaron Fox, which we'll get into. But in my view, I feel like that was the wrong move. I feel like I don't understand, where they go from here, because like Emil said, they're going to get rid of Fox is out of there. All right. He's not staying. So now you're going to have to find a new coach to head this new timeline with a bunch of pieces that may or may not even fit that timeline, i.e. Sabonis, i.e. DeMar DeRozan. So now we're potentially talking about nuking the roster at this point, right? And this was a franchise that, in my view, was closer to success than a rebuild leading into this season. And one thing I want to say, Case, before I let you fly on this one is we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is Fox going to clutch, right?
Hold on. Let's pause. Pause before we get into that. Let me just say one thing. Mike Brown just signed a 3-year extension, did he not? This offseason, it was last offseason.
He did.
So Mike Brown's going to be fine. He'll probably end up on Steve Kerr's roster as a consultant or something like that. He stays living in Northern California. De'Aaron Fox was just clutch player of the year 2 years ago. Mike Brown was just coach of the year 2 years ago.
Right.
Like at this point, the Kings are allergic to prosperity. Like it goes back deep, but we're gonna Luka Doncic miss, which is crazy. We can always hit on that, right? Marvin Bagley, that whole shebang. But like the Kings franchise is now the longest lasting franchise, I believe, is it either in all of sports? I know it's definitely in basketball and the NBA, the void of a championship. Or so it's at this point. I don't want to get into it too much because I feel like that's a whole segment in of itself. But the team is the organization is allergic to prosperity, and I don't see this thing getting better anytime soon. With that said, let's talk about De'Aaron Fox.
Wow.
Is D Fox a coach killer? Now, year 7, coach number 3. Luke Walton, I think, was 1. I believe is it Yeager? Yeager was 2. Mike Brown, 3. You about to go to your coach number 4 now? So you about to have 4 coaches in 8 years? Before we talk about the clutch aspect, is D Fox a coach killer? Just quick thoughts on that.
I can't say that. I can't say that. And
Okay.
Mel, sorry to cut you off, but
No, you're
I'll
fine.
say De'Aaron Fox is an elite point guard. I think we can all agree to that. De'Aaron Fox is not your number 1 star if you're a contender. He's just not. And I feel like he's been masquerading as that up till now, and the team hasn't shown success because he's really not that. And so instead of addressing that issue, right, and bringing in players that will at least bolster his skill set, they haven't done that. And so they blame the coach, right? So the coach got to go. And I feel like more than anything, that is a front office problem and not a De'Aaron Fox problem. And I can't speak to this. I can't speak to this most recent firing because it does look a little sketchy now. But I'll say up to this point, I wouldn't call him a coach killer.
Okay. So with that said, let's talk about it. Emil, you go first. Where's Fox going? Or do you believe that he's gone? I mean, you said he was out of there.
Yeah.
I think there's the obvious choice, but where could you see De'Aaron Fox landing?
I see him going to the Spurs with the alien, to be honest. The Spurs have certain pieces that they have some trade pieces they can use. I'm not gonna lie, they probably throw CP3 in there. CP3 comes to the nutty, but I see
He'll get bought
Fox.
out. He'll get bought out.
Yeah,
He would get bought out. Yeah.
yeah, he'll get bought out. Like throw a name brand CP3 in there with some young pieces in there, but I do see him realistically going to the Spurs and possibly the Heat maybe.
Okay. D, what about you?
Well, first, I would like to ask both of you guys, do you think that there are no other options? Because you figure they fire the coach, that means they must be thinking there is a way to salvage the relationship with D Fox. Do you guys think there's any way that they salvage this?
No, not without bringing in talent. Not like and it has to be like superstar talent, right? So
Okay.
like I don't see a name out there that's coming right now that changes the trajectory of this team.
What about Lauri Markkanen?
Nope, doesn't do it to me. Doesn't move it. Doesn't move the needle. Now, to me, it moves the needle more on the Warriors because of Steph Curry.
Right.
And there's levels to it, right? Like Fox is great, but he's not Steph Curry great, right? And the way that he galvanizes the team, the way that he impacts the floor, the arrangement of the floor, like how it's stretched. Marketing will be good. They could be somewhat a contender. A contender meaning like middle of the pack. Like to me, they'd be like right there with like the Grizzlies and teams like that. But I don't think that makes a big of a difference because who are you going to give up? What's that package?
Debo?
I don't know if maybe the salaries may match. So you're going to go Marketing and Domas?
Yeah. I mean, ideally, you'd want to keep Domas, right?
Yeah. So that would be a great move. That'd be a great move. But to me, that doesn't say Fox. I still think Fox is gone. To me, real quick, I'll get this out there. Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets could be a team. I could see them packaging some of their young talent, sending to Sacramento. I could see them pairing De'Aaron Fox with maybe Jalen Green and Sengun, or I can't see them giving up Jalen Green, but I can see them packaging some young talent with some picks, and
I
then you
heard
can have a
Easton.
nice. Yep, maybe it might be Thompson. You might have to give up one of the Thompson twins as well, potentially.
Well, you would
But
have to give up Van Vliet,
Banfield, oh yeah, for sure, and they'd be.
right,
I
just to
think they
make the
definitely
money
do that.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see Fox, Green, and Sengun. I think that could be a nice little
He's
threesome
from
right there.
Houston.
So yeah. So before
That's
we
who.
move on,
That's
D,
what I was gonna
Fox.
say.
Yeah, so say, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah,
Houston.
I was gonna say Houston, or I personally. I mean,
I
listen, you
heard
guys
Phoenix.
know
I
I'm
heard
bullish.
Phoenix. I heard the LA. I've heard Phoenix. I heard LA.
You guys know I'm bullish on Wembenyama. I would love to
Yeah.
see Wembenyama
Yeah.
paired with an elite point guard, especially somebody like Fox, who, with that spacing, could do some serious damage there. But my question also is, so if it ain't working here, right? My question is, what does Fox want, right? Because if it was just the bag, he would stay here because the Kings could pay him the most, right, with his bird rights. So it's not just money. He says he wants to win, which I also believe is true. I believe that to be true. But he also doesn't show on a night in, night out basis that he's committed to putting the team on his back to win, right? So he also seems like wants a situation where he ain't got to do everything.
Well, I think you said it. I think you said it up front. He's not the one. He's not your one.
Right.
He's an Anthony Davis type. Like on nights, he can look like the best player on the team, and he can put up the numbers to be the best player on the team. But he's a natural, really, really, really good co-star to me.
So he, to me, then that kind of rules out like Houston, because he would be the best dude on that team, basically, right? I'm not putting Sengun over him.
Yeah, I think he would be, but I think Jalen Green's got enough star power potential that if paired with the right, like he might need that in a sense of like, hey, I go get it, but I need someone else who can go get it too. That's going to elevate me even more, right?
Right.
That's to me. I feel like Fox wants the brand, and the brand comes from winning, yes, but it comes from winning in the playoffs. Like he wants those moments. Think about how good he played just in that one playoff series up until game 5 when he broke his finger or whatever. Like he was looking like probably the top 3 best players in the entire playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what he wants. He wants that spotlight. He sees guys like Jalen Brunson out here killing in the playoffs. Yep. Even Trae Young's made a couple long playoff runs, right? Like Fox knows he's better than those guys and wants to be able to prove it in the biggest spotlight. And he's just not going to get it in Sacramento.
I agree with that. I think in addition to that, you know, some of the accolades that come with that, obviously being an all-star helps your brand. Being considered for an all NBA team, like
Team
all
USA.
Which, like he rarely has like a, you know, he's been knocking on that door as far as like all NBA and all-star, but like we wouldn't consider him like a outright perennial all-star caliber player at this point. And I think he thinks that he is. You know what I mean?
And he has the skills to do it. Think about it. He's almost in the same situation Damian Lillard was in for years. Right? Like Dame, it took a couple long playoff runs for them to be like to really kind of make his stamp. So definitely a story we're going to come back to and talk a little bit some more. Real quick, Emil, Derek, I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your thoughts real quick. No Jimmy Butler. Pat Riley came out and said they are not moving Jimmy Butler. Emil, is that real? Is that just basketball talk? What's your thoughts on that one?
I think Pat is like riding for Jimmy or something like that. I think like he wants him to stay. I don't know what Jimmy's agent is talking about, but I think it may be real. I think he's going to try to bite down and try to keep Jimmy, to be honest. Okay. I haven't heard any other talks about it since he said that.
Yeah, they did quiet. Conversations did quiet once the Pat Godfather came out and said something. D, what you think? Is that fake news?
Well, first and foremost, that headline. Can you bring that
I
headline
know.
back?
Yeah. No Jimmy.
Yeah, that is
No Jimmy on
crazy.
the. I know. As soon as I hit submit, I was like, they're gonna like this one. No
That's
Jimmy
crazy
on the
work, bro.
moon.
No, but
No Jimmy.
here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. I think that I've become very fluent in listening to in goat whispering, basically, right? So I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what the Godfather is trying to say, and it's simple. They had Jimmy on the market quietly, and the packages weren't adding up, right? So they still want to
sending me
ship.
bullshit.
They still want to ship that man, but they're just not seeing what they want to see right now. So they want to basically hold on to their cards and wait for the trade deadline to see if anything opens up. But Jimmy's agent and Jimmy Butler himself have been making it extremely hot, right? We're seeing quotes from Jimmy talking about he was hurt by what Pat Riley said during the offseason, and his agent floating out the idea that, yeah, he wants to go play here. He wants to go play there. Basically making it so obvious to where they have no leverage in the situation. So in order to quiet that down, Pat Riley had to get out in front and say, hey, listen, we're not trading him. So I just want everybody to shut the hell up, basically.
Yeah, Pat.
And
Yep.
you know, it worked, right?
Pat talks, the league listens.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly what it is. I think they still want to move off from Jimmy. I think the Jimmy era is done. But at the same time, this will do two things. One, it'll shut up Jimmy's team so that they can stop messing up any potential trades that are on the table here. Two, this could possibly galvanize Jimmy and have him ball out to raise his trade value. Both which are good for the Heat organization and Jimmy. So I think Jimmy and his team need to take this as a word of advice to shut up. There's no trade to be made in Golden State. There's no trade to be made in Phoenix. There's no trade to be made in Dallas. So this idea that somehow they're going to have the cap space or the assets to go for Jimmy, it's ridiculous. And then also, if I'm Houston, I'm not trading for Jimmy Butler either. I would much rather have De'Aaron Fox, right? Like, why would I trade for a almost past his prime Jimmy Butler when I can get a in my prime point guard in De'Aaron Fox? So all of these like trade ideas that we think are possible with Jimmy Butler that he wants to happen, I don't think are going to happen. And I think Pat Riley just needs him to shut up while he does work, basically.
Yeah, Pat's telling the league, stop sending me this bull jive, right? Like stop with these weak offers. Like we ain't doing it. Honestly, they need to move the same way that the Warriors are moving with Kuminga, because he's up out of there too, right? And it might be this trade deadline, it might be end of the season, but they're playing him more. He's getting more minutes. He just dropped 30-something the other night. Increase that trade value. But he doesn't fit. Like they messed up by not getting rid of him a while ago, but he's up out of there. And the Miami Heat needs to operate the same way.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Christmas Day, because Christmas Day there's some good matchups in the NBA. Honestly, I felt like all around, for the most part, every game was watchable. Oh, here comes my kids. Every game was watchable. Every game was enjoyable. Let's kick it off. We had the Spurs and the Knicks. Mikal Bridges, Victor Wembanyama showdown. Victor Wembanyama, I mean, dude, we're gonna talk about him in a little bit because I feel like dude's timeline is just crazy right now. To be in year 2, great game there. Then we had the what was it? The Dallas and who'd they play? Sorry, I already
was
forgot.
it Timberwolves?
Yeah, Minnesota and Dallas. Anthony Edwards, Kyrie Irving showdown, great game. Back and forth. We had the Celtics and the Sixers, which the Sixers look like the team that they're supposed to be, right? They look like that team
let's stop right there, Case. Let's stop right there. Because watching that game, That's the team that I was campaigning for at the beginning of the
That
season.
that's the team that they're supposed to be, right?
That's what I thought that they were going to be if they all
Easy.
stayed healthy, right? It was the
Yeah.
health that was the major concern, but they look like a team that could, in 7. That's a tough out in 7 games.
That's a
Let's
tough
put it
out. Yep. And then you had the battle of the GOATs. Steph Curry, LeBron James, great game there. Finishing with Jokic and KD and the Suns at nighttime. So all in all, I felt that it was a great day for the NBA. So here's the thing about the NBA versus the NFL. And I can't remember who I was telling this, but the NBA is quantity, right? I'm going to give you a ton of games. I'm going to give you a ton of nights. It's going to be a soap opera. So it's going to be on every single day, right? Whereas the NFL, the NFL's HBO Max. I'm going to give you one show a week, right? You're going to tune in. You're going to lock in. It's going to be quality. The NFL is the only program, cable TV program, that could put their worst product on any given night, and everybody's going to tune in. Right? We had a 6-3 game the other night for football, which is crazy. So, all in all, what were your thoughts? Just quickly, just tell me, what were your thoughts overall on the NBA on Christmas? And then I want to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about the battle of the GOATs, LeBron and Steph, and I want to talk about Victor Wembanyama. So, the games that you were able to see, that you're able to lock into, what do you think about the NBA on Christmas Day?
Yeah, overall, grand scheme, I like the fact that there was like games from morning to night. Like you said, to your point, NBA is about quantity. So I like the abundance of games throughout the day. It'll get people watching, in the background, trying to get the ratings up. I did enjoy, of course, the Battle of the Ghosts, which we'll get into later. I like anytime you can see LeBron and Steph match up. I like to see. It was exciting all the way to the end, to the game winner. But overall, I think it was a good win for the NBA. I think what would help them is keep having good matchups, star against star, and do multiple games in the day. And I think it'll help out. So,
D, what's your thoughts on Christmas Day?
I definitely thought that they put their best foot forward. I sent that graphic to you guys this week about the ratings. The ratings were up like 85% from last year. So I don't know what happened last year, but this was definitely a step up. And the NBA needed this win. I think it also helped that football had horrible games on Christmas.
Horrible.
Which we don't have to get into.
Yeah, horrible. They had the Beyonce Bowl, and the games were horrible.
Yeah. But one thing I will say, and we could transition to the next part of this conversation. I wish that the NBA, this was a prime opportunity for them to showcase some of their young stars, right? We've been saying that the NBA, we're aging out, right? And the LeBrons and the Stephs, they could be retired next year for all we know, depending on what happens this year. What better stage to showcase the next face, right? Than to put them on Christmas and no Ja, no Shea. You know what I'm saying? Obviously Wembanyama is a great piece there to showcase, but I would have had Shea. I would have had all of my best players on the floor on Christmas.
I'd have threw Melo in there too. I'd have threw LaMelo. If LaMelo's if he's not injured, I would threw LaMelo Ball on there too on Christmas, just because the ball.
You gotta start building up these guys at some point, I guess. Can't hear you, Case.
Sorry, I had muted because the kids. So let's talk about that. And the reason I put that banner below is because does the NBA still have when I say GOATs, I'm talking about LeBron, Steph, maybe KD's a tier below, but do they still have a GOAT problem in the sense of they still move the needle? And no matter what these young stars, these young talents are, no one moves the needle like LeBron and Steph. Hence why they still have to put them on. I thought the Knicks and Spurs was a compelling game. I thought that was a great game. And I would love to see Wemby. It was nice to see Wemby at the Garden put up those numbers, absolutely. But maybe that could be the 2:00 game. right? Maybe
Yeah,
that
that
could
was
be
way
the
too early, bro.
like I watched that Mickey. We was watching Mickey, right? So like Wemby was shooting Donald Duck, bro. That's the version we
Yeah,
was watching, like, which was actually kind of cool. Shout out Disney.
that was
Um,
way too early, bro.
but for that quality of game, I felt like that could have been, a later afternoon game. So all in all, does the NBA still have a GOAT problem as far as replacing Braun and Steph? As great as the showdown as it was, and as great as I love seeing those two play, they at some point they got to move forward, and they still look like they're still having some trouble moving forward.
I think there may be a GOAT problem, just like to Derek's point about putting people on showcase. It's like even the young talent, like trying to figure out who could be the new face. I know we know Shea. If Ja can stay out of trouble, of course we got Ant played already on Christmas, but I think it could be like a GOAT problem. I don't see like an emerging like, and I'm talking about on all fronts, like winning, brand, community, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Like LeBron and stuff, they cover all that basis. Family men, like just they're so marketable. So it's like I can't really think of like another up and coming person that covers all bases. Like Ant, he's like really great. He's
Mm-hmm.
like great, but like being that overall face, like we talked about in our previous takes, interviews, things like that. Like you got to be marketable in interviews. You got to be marketable with the community, winning. And I don't see much of that like in the new school. And I don't know, it's the new age as well. Like how you guys said, like the new age of the youth is different. So I think there is a GOAT problem, to be honest. Like a transition, like pass the torch as opposed to like we were growing up with the old goats.
D, what's your thoughts?
I agree. I think guys like Tatum are boring, right? No aura, not risky enough, right? Guys like Ant, it's the slider. The slider is almost too far to the right when it comes to
YN.
that. The Ant might be just a little too much. You know what I'm saying? I think
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
guys like Shea have it, but also like I understand the NBA is a business. OKC is not a huge market, right? So it's not like putting I would love to see OKC on Christmas, but
Mm-hmm.
putting them on Christmas might be detrimental when you're talking about the mainstream audience that is just casually watching, right?
Yep.
So I think it's a
They're not there yet.
combination of not having the right players in the right markets, maybe, that also kind of hurt this. But let's just be honest. Wembenyama is that. He is who the NBA needs to invest in.
So let's touch on that. So that's a great transition. Let's touch on that. Usually year two, as you're building with the superstar. Hey guys, stop, please. Sorry guys. Would you have a superstar? Usually year two, you just want to surround him with quality veterans, right? As he grows and learns the game. Wemby's ahead of all that. This man is out in New York City playing chess with the people, right? He's the man of the people. He's out there. What's that? What's that movie? Finding Forrester? No, what is it? Finding
It is Finding Forrester.
Finding Forrester. He's out there. He's out there, man of the people. But he's way advanced in the timeline.
Yes.
So my question for you, Derek, I'm gonna kick it off with you. I think Wemby's showing he could be a number one on a championship caliber team today. What does that mean for your timeline? If you're the GM, do you go all in now? Do you wait another year? Do you wait a two? Like, what are you doing?
I'm not waiting any longer. I think somebody was talking about like, do we want to make a move for Fox now? And, meanwhile, we're most likely going to have a lotto pick this year. And we can, dude, players don't age like Wemby's aging. When you draft a player fresh, it could take 3 years for them to start showing any promise. They could not pan out. So the last thing you want to do is throw all of your cash and stake into drafting players around Wemby that are going to build this young core. You've got to get Wemby some co-stars ASAP.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a lie. Emil, what's your thoughts?
I agree too, man.
What you say on side? Babe had an appearance. She didn't want to wave or nothing.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, sis? I agree. You know, Derek said it perfectly, man. To keep it short, bro. Like, Wemby is. You guys are good with the stats. Like his timeline, his numbers. He's already over 2,000 points. Like what? Almost 1,000 boards, 500 blocks. That's something crazy. His first timeline. Like you have to give something now. You have to trade now. Build around him now. You can blow up the team now. I like Castle or whoever the other player is. I like
Castle.
him. Keep Castle, keep Wemby, blow up the squad, and get some current stars in. You can get like a maybe even like a 4-star person. Like get some good talent around him and let him lead
Let's
because like he's
let,
crazy.
let's hit on that real quick. And I
Yeah,
know this will be a conversation we'll have, down the road some
yeah,
more. But just off the top, we talked about De'Aaron Fox. I feel like that could be one. That'd be a
yeah.
great move for them. I'm looking at some of these other bottom tier teams. Is there anyone else that you're seeing that could help change, so to speak, the trajectory of the Spurs right here, right now? I'm not saying they got to be a championship caliber team now, but do you foresee any moves right now that kind of, accelerate, so to speak, this timeline?
Man, I feel like De'Aaron Fox is that's like ideal, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like ideal
Yeah.
because De'Aaron is young enough,
Mm-hmm.
but De'Aaron wants to win now too. And like you said, Case, we just need to see Wembanyama in the playoffs,
That's
right?
it.
Like that's all we need to
And
Facts.
see how he competes on
as
the
of right now,
bright stage.
they're fighting for that, that play-in. If the NBA, and I feel like the NBA is going to make this happen. If the NBA can get him in the playoffs, yeah, that's the
Bro, he's
move.
averaging 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 36% from three, 84 or 88% from free throw. So he's darn near automatic once he gets fouled, right? I mean, I could see him averaging 30 plus points a game.
Easy.
Like once he
Tell me
gets comfy.
Easy.
before we move on to this, because I think this is going to have to be a whole segment. What about Bradley Beal?
Nah, man.
No.
He's
Okay.
not available enough.
Okay. So the reason I'm saying that, because I don't think he's a long-term play. I think Brad Beal has maybe 2 years left on that contract, which was kind of one of those ugly contracts at the time. I'm thinking he could be a plug and play now
Mm-hmm.
to kind of get you to the next step, and just an additional score. Now, granted, I need to look at the numbers to kind of dig in. I need to do some due diligence to see like how much is he putting up better numbers than some of their other role players right now? And then is it even worth it? Is there enough juice in there to squeeze technically? So,
Would Jimmy go, Case? Would Jimmy Butler go to Spurs?
would
Y'all see that?
he?
Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was thinking that too.
Yeah. I think, honestly, anybody in the league right now, if you got a chance to go play with Wemby, you're going.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, you're going. Yeah, you're going.
I just feel like Jimmy may be too much chaos.
He could
Like
be.
Wemby
They don't
needs
want that. They don't
responsible
want that.
goats.
Yeah,
You know
They
what
don't
I
want
mean?
he might tank Wemby.
that.
He might tank him. Yeah, he might tank him.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, I want to get on this before we get into some quick takes and before we do our 2024 recap. Would you all agree Jokic is the best player in the NBA still? Okay, well,
Man, Giannis is rising up
okay.
the ladder
Okay,
for
so
me.
would you say
Yes.
right now Jokic is still the best player in the NBA?
Yes.
Current, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that goes to my question. Is there a clear-cut number two? And the reason I asked that is because I was thinking the same thing that what you were saying with Giannis. Giannis has proven like, I'm putting this team on my back and I'm taking us there. And I got mad respect for that. Right? He got Dame out here like low key, like a role player. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Dame's still cool, but like Giannis is like, hold on, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take us
It's
there.
on me, basically.
Yeah.
It is, and as much as we called him a coach killer, I've called him a coach killer, right? Or
Yeah.
as much as I gave him crap, and rightfully deserved. Like, you guys started off ass, like point blank. You guys, and there's no reason. Like, you guys started off ass, and now you're playing to the caliber that you should be playing, right? I think they're right outside of the 4 seed and has a
Yeah.
chance to probably get up to the 3 seed. Nobody's touching Boston or Cleveland so we'll talk about that another time. But is Giannis right now the number 2 best player in the NBA? With Doncic, I had this queued up, and then Doncic went out, and I was like, okay, he kind of is right now, right?
Yeah, I would
Or
say yes.
is Shea? I mean, he beat Shea in the Cup Finals, and clearly was the best player on the court.
Shea took a step back for me, I think.
Yeah. And Shea will probably get the MVP this year. I think I said it before the season. He's probably, you got to think about from a marketability standpoint, the NBA needs him. They need another star. They need him to go to the finals, or at least they need, like, they can't put him on primetime Christmas Day if he hasn't been deep in the playoffs. He hasn't been to the finals. He might get an MVP. Like, think about it. They got Jokic as the MVP, and he's playing the 7 p.m. game. Like that's
right.
So. But to your point, I think Giannis is the clear-cut number 2.
Yep.
And they didn't play on Christmas.
They didn't even play. No, they put Philly instead. They chose Philly instead. So
yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I was hot at that game. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, you
the
gotta
only
look
thing
at it
that
like
saved
this.
that game was that Philly won, but I was hot when I saw Celtics Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw in the text. We tuned out. All right, let's get to the tape. I got a couple things I want to cover real quick. So we're gonna get some quick takes on this one, and then we're gonna talk about 2024. All right, let's kick this thing off. All right, let me cue it up. All right, first off, we are gonna start off with you guys remember that game growing up called Red Rover?
Send
Is this the same thing?
Right over.
Red
Rover. Send.
Is this the same thing?
Right over. And you got a bus through.
Hold on. I got the wrong screen up. Sorry, 1 second. Let me get the right screen. Let me make sure I get the right screen here. So Red Rover, call XYZ over. Is this the same thing?
And then Draymond.
Look at him.
Allowed to lock on.
Yeah, that's so egregious, bro.
That's it.
If I recall, I think he got teed up after this for complaining about this.
That's disgusting work, bro.
He putting up triple
This is
zeros,
like something
doing
you
all
do.
that. Like, he's too much.
It's like something like Robin would do to the bad guys to like knock their heads together. You know what I mean? Like hit a backflip and like knock their heads together.
Why he look like Rey Mysterio Jr. right now?
Bro, the Draymond highlight tape is crazy, dog.
That is disgusting.
The Draymond highlight tape. All right, let's move over to this one.
Oh gosh.
This was
Whoever got
cool.
that on camera too is a goat.
Let's move over to this one. Hold on. This is pretty cool. So we got 4 game winners in one night.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet for the NBA. So you got Tyler Hero.
And he's been hooping this year.
He's been hooping.
Who's actually really been coming into his own. Tyler Hero's been popping.
Okay.
Then you got this one. This is one we talked about.
This is crazy. This is what got Mike Brown fired.
This guy,
that hurt.
His presser got him fired too.
That hurt.
His presser. But here's the thing: like we got like these stars nowadays are so sensitive, right? Like can't take any critique. We got Jordan Poole with the step back.
He's been hooping a little bit too.
He has. Yeah, he's found his swag. He's found his swag again. And then we had this one with Scoot.
That was such a bad shot, bro.
That was a horrible shot.
He played park basketball.
Shot. I know that left foot was dragging, boy. All right, so I thought that was cool. Good night for the NBA on that one. I want to hit on this one. So you guys ever seen a coach crash out?
Yeah, he did crash out. Yeah, he be getting fired up.
Look at him. Bro, I'm pretty sure he's Russian, and like he don't take no shit, bro. Like, This is how I am when I walk in the kitchen. There's no food on the table, bro. I be crashing out, bro.
Nah, but on some real stuff though, like this is how you know you're on a losing franchise. Like when you're behaving like
it
this.
just boils.
Yeah.
He frustrated. He frustrated for sure.
It just boils up, just like
he's trying to go home early. He done coaching. He trying to go home early.
Yo, shout out to those jerseys though, man. Love those jerseys for both teams.
All right, here we go. Next up, we got what else we got? We'll talk Cavs and Celtics another time. I'd be remiss if I didn't hit on this one. Where is it at? Let me cue it up. Oh yeah, here we go. This is some good tape right here. So let me cue this one up. Yep. Lake Show. We got AD first couple minutes of the game. Oh, the Hagel.
Mr. Glass. Mr. Glass.
It was those
who did he step on?
It was those weak bronze he was wearing, man.
Bro, I didn't even get the plant foot down. Was he rocking the Cobes?
No, those are the bronze. Those are Christmas bronze. Yeah.
Oh man.
Those are like one of ones too.
Oh man.
I never understand. Maybe I'm old school. I never understood the low top shoes for hoop.
Low tops might be detrimental for hoop. I can't lie.
Yep.
Hey, I mean, we were talking. I mean, I think that's just how we grew up, right? Like, you just can't wear low top hoops. Like, you got to protect your ankles.
You do.
All right, let's move over to. We got this one.
Hey, he hooped last night though. Let's not do that. He had like 36 last night.
He stayed in the game. He stayed in the game. I'm proud of him. He stayed in the game.
All right, let's talk about one Bronny James, averaging 17 and 4 the last couple G League games.
Yeah.
Hey, Bronny.
Hey.
His mutant gene has activated.
He had to get confident. He had to get confident. Like I told Case, I told y'all, this is his sophomore year in college.
Gets to the elbow between the.
Bronny dropped 30 the other night, though.
Yeah.
If you look at his X-ray, there's a little tiny baby goat in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where his heart should be.
Yeah. Yeah. He needed more confidence, y'all. Like he got brought in too early for the bag and for legacy, but this is like sophomore year at USC right now.
You're right. And the thing about it is you could tell the confidence by players how they move.
Yeah.
He's moving fluid. He's moving good.
Yeah.
Shout out, Bronny.
He looked decent. I'm not gonna lie. He looked good.
We gotta if we're gonna roast Bronny, we've gotta also give him praise. So
we gotta praise him too. We gotta build him up.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, he probably do gotta.
I don't like that cut though.
Me.
He's
in South Bay. There's a bar in South Bay.
He got a little baby goat in him.
You do.
But all right, let's move forward. Speaking of goat in him, we got minus MJ. We got my goat right here. Young Stephen Curry. Tell me this ain't one of the craziest plays you've ever seen, bro. Behind the back, moving to the left, floater with the right hand.
Trying stuff on the court.
Yeah,
that's nasty.
That's just horse.
I hate the reactions after though. Yeah. Like, bro,
he's a showman. This is why the ratings are up when he plays, though, bro. He's a showman.
Just make the shot.
Bro, that was nasty though.
That was
you
nasty,
gotta celebrate. Though. You gotta celebrate, dude. You gotta celebrate. Oh snap! All right. We're gonna move forward. Let me go to this one though, because I thought this was funny. Y'all see this Trey Murphy the other day?
No, I haven't.
Another fast break. Murphy.
Oh, I did not see this. Now, I have to say, I'm not watching Pelicans basketball by any means. So that's crazy.
That sums up their season right now.
Yeah, that was nuts. Bro, what? And then you're going to look like that, like somebody did something.
Looking for a cause. Your teammate.
Yeah, like, bro, what?
I have secondhand embarrassment watching that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Second answer embarrassment. All right, last one. Y'all see so last night, Suns Warriors.
Yo, that JR gift kills me, bro.
Suns Warriors. All right, you down by 3.
Budenholzer doesn't use it.
Brad Bill, you down by 3. 10 seconds left. Brad Bill. What was that?
Like, bro.
Why didn't he pull up?
Why did he do
He
that?
likes to pull up a lot. Why didn't he pull up?
Brad Bill, you down by 3. You got KD with you. Brad Bill, you down 3. Brad.
And see, like, that's the type of stuff where you do kind of look at the coach there, right? Because it's like, bro, y'all didn't talk about this?
Yeah.
You guys didn't map this out?
There should be an easy money sniper 10-second play.
No, I guess, it looks like they obviously didn't have a timeout because they were taking it out from under the basket, but still, like.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. All right, that's all the our film breakdown for today. All right, I do want to conclude. So we kind of talked a little bit about this in the beginning. 2024 has come to an end, fellas. So we've had a lot of stuff happen this year, but since we are on a hoop, who was the best player of 2024? Did I say 2010? I'm sorry if I said 2010. That's the wine.
No, you said 2024.
Okay. Who was the best player of 2024? So that's this season and then conclusion of last season.
The conclusion of last season and this season?
Yep, literally the calendar year of 2024. Who was the best player?
What about Olympics?
All included, yeah. All right, I'll go first. It's hard to knock one Jason Tatum. Hey,
come on,
say what you want.
bro.
Say what you want. I'm not saying he won. I'm just saying it's hard to knock one Jason Tatum. Right?
Come on,
you get the ring. You get the ring. You get the gold medal. Say what you want. You got the gold medal, right? And then you start the season off. He's having a good season. He had a great playoff run. Did he ball in the finals? Suspect. We could talk about that another time. But Jason Tatum's got to be up there, D. No? He's got to be up there, though.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's tough, huh?
Think about it though, like in totality, like it's him. It's, I mean, Canada. I was gonna say Shea, but Canada didn't even. Did they get to the semis? I don't even know if they got to the semis. They didn't even got knocked out by.
They got knocked out.
They got knocked out. I mean, it wasn't Shea's fault. It's probably more Jamal Murray's fault than Shea's fault. But
yeah.
But Shea probably got to be in that conversation. Germany, yeah, that's right. Didn't shoot in those. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be Tatum. It's got to be Shea.
I would say Yoke.
Yoke could be that conversation.
I mean, he didn't have a deep playoff run, but I think as far as individual stats go, I mean, he's at the top of the list there, right?
Anthony Edwards.
AE ball.
I think this was his coming out year, as a whole. Like, again, to where everything that De'Aaron Fox wants, Anthony Edwards is doing. Everything John Morant wants, which he should have been doing at first, Anthony Edwards is doing. Right. You turn on the TV, this man is in every commercial. I saw him on a Sprite commercial. I saw him on a is it Powerade or Gator? One of the Powerade, I think, commercial. He was doing a Christmas Santa Claus commercial. I've seen Anthony Edwards in so many commercials. I feel like, and then playing in the Olympics, was he the star? No, but he balled enough to where like you remember him playing, and had a couple. Yeah, had some good moments. So I would say Anthony Edwards would have to be in that conversation too.
I agree.
But so all in all, what are you gonna remember most? What are you gonna take away most from this year? D, we'll start with you, man, because I mean, was this did you move this year? Was the move this year or last year?
No, it was late last year, but this is like the first full calendar year, basically.
Yeah. So just what are your thoughts on 2024? How 2024 is going to be remembered for you?
Man, I'm gonna be honest, man, and not start off doom and gloom, but man, this was a tough year, man. This was a tough year, and not necessarily personally, even though it had its challenges for me as well. But I would say, like, just with everything going on in the world, we had the election.
Mhm.
There's a lot of division. It seemed like there's just a lot of unsurety going into 2025 as far as like what the economy is going to be and
Yep.
things like that. Man, I'll say keep it short, man. 2024 felt like the episode before the season finale, man.
Man,
And
it's
sometimes
man.
and what's crazy though, sometimes those are the most action-packed episodes though.
Right,
If you think about it, right?
right.
Like sometimes like Game of Thrones, like it was always the episode before the finale that
That
was
went
always like
ham.
crazy.
Right,
Then the finale was like dialogue, right? Like
right,
so that
right.
could be a good thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
That could be a
yeah.
trying
good
to be like Will Smith in the finale, just by myself looking around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say though, like on a personal level, it was definitely like a year of growth for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm headed back to school, started in the next few weeks here,
Hey, that's what's
Congrats.
up,
so
bro.
I'm excited about
Congrats, yeah.
that. I'm
Congrats,
excited
bro.
about that in a new city, put my roots down, meeting new people. So I would say that it's looking up. There's a lot of opportunities to come. But yeah, y'all, man, 2024 was a crazy, chaotic year, man. Y'all don't agree?
Email, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on
Yeah,
24?
yeah, I definitely agree,
You had
man.
a lot. You had a lot this year. This is a big year for you too.
Yeah, for sure, man. On a personal level, it's more of uh out with the old, in with the new, like getting rid of the residue in my life with like personal things that went on, to new growth in my life. Definitely have had some clutch moments towards the end of the year. With personal special relationships, that I made that I have now. So I feel like this has been a year of like shaking off the residue of like past things and like stepping into that newness, when it comes to like a grand perspective, just the political, social, pop culture. Um, it's funny, like talking about like how Cat Williams popped it off in the beginning of the year, but
Yeah.
from a spiritual eye, I feel like it has been a year of like revelation, a year of
Mhm.
like what was done in the dark comes to the light for the world and for us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and doing
Yeah.
that cleanup work, doing that, like how Derek said, that growth, looking in the mirror and like start, through God refining yourself, with Him. So it's been very eventful, ups and downs, but count it all joy, as my homeboy Paul said.
Yeah, man. It's interesting because I was just thinking back. So like the Cat Williams thing, like we thought it was funny at the time, but like there was so much truth in like what he was saying as far as like everything just kind of coming out this year. I mean, we had the election, which I felt like the election just happened, but I felt like it was a full like a year long thing, right? Like
Facts.
all the campaigning and the debates and the back and forth, this, that, and the other. We had the eclipse this year, which was actually kind of cool. We had the big rap beef.
Mhm.
We had the war. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the war. I'm not too familiar with this. So I'm not going to go too
Right.
much
Yeah.
into it, but I know that was a huge thing for this
Yeah.
year. But it's funny because this year was supposed to be like my word of the year was breakthrough. That was like my biggest word of the year was breakthrough. So you hear that at the end of the year. I mean, you got a business under contract. You feel like a breakthrough, like my pocket's about to be lined. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel like you moving forward. And it wasn't that. It wasn't even a financial breakthrough per se, but it was a breakthrough with family. It was a
Mm,
breakthrough through like personal growth.
mm,
And this year was definitely just like a year of grit and perseverance. I feel
yeah.
like those were like my two that was really challenging this year. Like it was it was there was some cool milestones, like even starting this amongst us. Like this was a big deal because this
Yeah.
has been something we had been talking about for the longest, right?
Yeah.
Doing a book club was something I've been thinking about for the longest, like doing stuff with the kiddos. So like there were some key milestones that happened over the course of the year. So I have to make sure I remind myself of it. But it's the moments of like grit and like just mentally being fatigued and taxed, like those. That's honestly, those were some big takeaways this year. And I think what happens is like we I don't want to say sorry, I'm sort of crying. We sometimes underestimate how much we can get done in a year. and we overestimate. Sorry, yeah, we overestimate like how much we can get done in a couple years. So, sorry, I think I said it backwards. We underestimate how much we can get done in a couple years, but we overestimate how much we can get done in a year. So, kind of coming into this year, I'm thinking I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
Right.
So, and then a couple of those things never even happen. So, like moving forward to next year, it's like, yo, I'm gonna focus on A, B, and C. That's it. I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna stay happy in these things. Will other stuff happen? Yeah, other stuff is going to happen. But it's one of those like, as long as I complete these three, then I think I'm gonna have a successful year.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah,
they took they're like Pops. Yes.
Yeah, they're like, we ready for you to be done.
Yeah.
Well, to piggyback off what he said though, I feel like, you know, one thing that I'm realizing in my age is like focusing on the core value, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, happiness, right?
Yes.
Like we all
Yes.
know that isn't
It's a state.
that isn't a permanent state that you reside
joy.
in that.
Joy, yeah.
But like, you know, if that is a standard of living that you would like to, you know, achieve for a majority of the time, then it's the journey of you know, maintaining that, of reaching that point, you know, dealing with the ebbs and flows and all of those things. I feel like everything else kind of aligns and makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to get on that roller coaster and lose yourself in the emotion of what's happening and feeling like the despair and then feeling overjoyed.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if you're focusing on that value, if you have that standard and you work towards that on a consistent basis, you know, believing in a higher power, right? Believing that the most high has your best interest and living in that. Like, I feel like, you know, these years, you know, you can achieve a lot in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, and I want to add to you too. Like, I think another thing for me this year, you know, we all grew up together, man. So like, the personal thing for me, confessional. I always, because we have like, whether it's our circle or you guys have other circles, I have other circles. Like, I'm always around solid people. You know what I mean? So the thing that I've learned this year, I'm content. Like, I'm content. Like how you say, like having that peace and having that core value. Like, if I have a cool job, I have you have a shelter, a cool job that can pay for the shelter, pay for my food. I'm around my family and loved ones. I go, you know, I go spend time with God. Like I'm good. I don't have to look to the left or the right. You know, my race is my race. And I think finally this year, I finally put all together 37 years of this. I'm like, I'm good. And I want to continue to make goals and keep pressing forward. So contentment, I've learned a lot. Ups and downs, learn to be content and appreciate what. Don't boggle your head over what you don't have. You need to sit your butt down somewhere and think about what you already have.
I think sometimes when we hear content, you know, we misunderstand that for settle, right? And there's like this knack of like, oh, I'm not settling. I'll never settle.
Yeah.
Like, no. You could be content, right? You could be, you know, in the moment. And that's something that me and Emil definitely talked about like the last 6 months or so, like being present in the moment. And you know, we all have goals, we have aspirations. Like Derek's going back to school. Like, you know, the goal is to continue to grow this and take this to wherever we want to, you know, go down the road. But it's okay that we have to remind ourselves, like, the season that we're in, we're never going to be in again.
Yep.
Right. And especially like when you have kids, like, I got all these dreams and aspirations, but I got to remind myself I'm never going to have these moments again. And it's okay to be okay with that. And it's okay to like still go after shit, but like still at the same time, like, I need to, you know, acknowledge like exactly where I am. So,
thanks.
So 2025, fellas, let's toast up to a great year, of friendship, continue to build foundations, and continue to aspire forward. So, toast up, fellas. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. For those that listening, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great year.